Hello and welcome back to Engaging Conversations. I'm your host, Leon Goldsman, and it's an honor to be here with you today. Every episode we explore the stories of people making a real impact, and today is no exception. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our valued sponsor Nias Kenneth, Principal and Lending Specialist at Invest Intelligence. Nias is dedicated to socially responsible investment strategies, particularly in disability accommodation. And his support makes conversations like these possible. Now, today's episode is about something fundamental: opportunity. Finding a job, starting fresh, or even rebuilding after a setback isn't always as straightforward as we think. There are invisible barriers that hold people back, be it navigating financial rules, gaining the right skills, or simply having someone to believe in them. That's where HAFC, Hunter Adults Financial Collaborative, steps in. Their mission isn't just about helping people find work. It's to empower them to thrive, because when someone attains meaningful employment, it goes beyond just about financial stability. It's about dignity, self-worth, and the ripple effect of contributing to a stronger community. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Cherylin Beever, the driving force behind HAFC. Historically, Newcastle and the Hunter region have long been places of opportunity, welcoming people from all walks of life. But as we'll learn, having a fair go isn't always as simple as it sounds. HAFC is changing that. And their work? When it comes to transforming lives, we are all strengthening businesses, communities, and our economy. This is a conversation about empowerment, resilience, and the importance of giving people a real chance. So without further ado, let's get into it.
My name's Cherylin Beever. I'm treasurer of the HAFC charity and retired person, but I do a lot of volunteer work, which definitely keeps me young.
Not just young, but also very active.
Very active. And I think you need to be active in your senior life. In terms of our success story, and one that really stands out, would be our establishment of a commercial cleaning company. I was present at the TAFE Winner Presentation Award Ceremony, where we had some refugees that had been completing a cleaning company course, a cleaning training, and they were looking to establish a company, and they approached us, and we looked at them and thought, yes, they definitely have the passion, they have the training, and we thought, yes, this can definitely be a goer. So they came along, we mentored them. Their goal was to employ 8 refugees, which they have done, and their successful company keeps growing. So definitely success for us.
And that's really important, because when you've got regional parts of any state, let alone New South Wales, even though the population is growing, unemployment rate, especially the youth unemployment rate, is on the rise. So it's really important to have more business owners, or at the very least, more people working. How do you feel your organisation is assisting that?
Definitely trying to get people into employment, because although there appears to be a lot of jobs, it seems to be very difficult to get our clients into full-time employment. There are just too many barriers along the way. And it's my hope that I can eliminate some of those barriers so I can get them gainfully employed. It just seems to be so much paperwork involved and difficult for people to be able to navigate those to get a job. For some people, not all people.
So when it comes to keeping people in the workforce, at least continuing their own business, how is that something that you might be able to assist them with?
Absolutely. We have the facilities, the mentoring, and some financial assistance that we can help that. And I'm sure that there are a whole lot of people out there that only need a small amount of money to get them going. We have had people that have had jobs and ready to go and got tools, etc., but can't afford the insurance, they can't afford the registrations and so on and so forth that they need. So there's just those little barriers that they cannot get themselves up and going. We know a lot of small businesses fail, and we certainly don't want that to happen. So we're able to mentor them so we know that they're on the right track to stay viable.
And I think that's absolutely brilliant, because we know that when you help others, you kind of are helping yourself. I mean, when we started this conversation, you mentioned that you're a retiree, but you are active. and you look very happy, and you look very very determined and satisfied to keep going. You love what you do.
I certainly do. I enjoy helping people, and it's just second nature to me that you help people, and I can do it in such enjoyable ways. I find great satisfaction with dealing with people. Sometimes a small amount of effort brings such rewards to them, and that is very satisfying.
I bet it is. And Cherylin, look, given HAFC's commitment to helping individuals assist financial independence, what are some of the most rewarding transformations you've seen?
In terms of people having financial stress, we did have one client that we had already helped, and unfortunately came across some more difficult times. His home was robbed, his work computer was stolen, he had car issues, he had family issues, and finance was a problem. So we were able to give him a little bit more money. We gave him a lot of social and emotional support as well, because he needed that as well as the financial. So he was able to pay back his loan and continue his business. So it was a win-win situation. It made us feel like we were valued, and he was able to climb out of that pit that he was in, which was hard, but he was able to do it with our assistance.
It's always good to know you've got somebody out there you can count on, or somebody that at least is there and they care.
Absolutely, and sometimes those people may have ideas of what they need to do, but they just need extra confidence and reassurance from us that these are the steps that they can take, and there are facilities and services out there to assist them.
And one of those things is understanding how financial literacy, what practical steps does HAFC take to ensure people don't just receive help, but build lasting financial resilience?
To make them be able to be financially secure and move forward in their lives, we definitely see our number one priority as getting employment, because a lot of them do want to get off government assistance. They want to be able to be successful citizens and contributing to the economy. They all want a job. We've run resume writing, interview skills workshops. We've done computer lessons for them. We are upskilling people that have existing sewing skills, so we're trying to upskill them so that they can start a little micro business from home, doing some piecework. We've been able to provide them with sewing machines. We've had volunteers, been sourced those from the community, and had volunteers fix them so that they've got a sewing machine at home, which gives them some chance of getting some employment. When we've been successful in getting job leads for people, we've helped them with complete online training courses, sort out superannuation, assist them with completing online forms, uploading documents, just trying to help them through that, because there is so much there, and if your literacy skills aren't great, it's a struggle. So we are able to make them a little bit more financially viable. In the open market of employment, they probably would not get an interview because there are too many barriers. Even if they've got a resume and they've got maybe an employment agency, it still doesn't guarantee that they'll get a job, because there's putting a lot on the individual to find those jobs, and it's very difficult. One of our applicants has started a business sewing T-shirts and clothing after running a successful business in India for 10 years while he was waiting to come to Australia. I had two lovely ladies, single mums with children. They have gained part-time work, and we were able to get a lead from a company that wanted someone, and I went with them to the employer and we had a discussion. I helped them with their superannuation funds, helped them with their banking details. Now, the employer was excited with their work ethic, and the ladies were delighted because they got some additional income, in the hope that once they do a good job as part-time, they may get full-time work. So they're the kind of successes that we value.
Your organisation is also I suppose, paves the way. It's like a stepping stone.
I totally agree, because I feel a lot of the things that we are doing are kind of bridging gaps. The employment agencies can do a certain amount, and we find that we can sort of do the next extra steps that allow them to get employment. So definitely think we are providing necessary. Sometimes it might be just a service, sometimes it may be finance, it might be just help along the way to make that pathway to employment or being financially viable an easier one.
And you mentioned some challenges and red tape. I'm also thinking, considering the current global climate with rising concerns about social divisions and possibly discrimination, how does your organisation actively encourage inclusivity and unity within the community that it serves?
As a charity, small charity, we are quite active in the community, moving amongst different community groups. We wanted to get our name out there, and we spent a lot of time actually actively walking out in the community, so to speak, visiting multicultural centres, festivals, community groups where they gather, events, Zara's House, Survivors Are Us, TAFE, training providers, anywhere where there's a grouping of people that we think maybe we could provide assistance for. Once we became more well known, we were able to access different people, and they've approached us for different kinds of assistance. Board members have helped with getting friends on board, and then friends and friends have come on board, and family have come on board. So that's made us more able to access volunteers across a broader community. Volunteers come in and they hear quite amazing stories of people's journeys and their survival, and it's just rewarding. They experience the gratitude of the people that they are able to help. It becomes a win-win situation for both the volunteers and those that we help. Language barriers are negotiated, and the smiles on their faces says it all.
Yeah, and you can't hide a genuine smile. I mean, I'm smiling. I'm hearing these inspiring stories, and you just can't help but smile.
Absolutely. It's such those feel-good stories that we need more of in the community, about all those lovely things that are happening, rather than the horrific events that are broadcast constantly to make people feel that the world is not a happy place. And there are lots of happy people out there, and we can make those smiles on their faces bigger.
Real smiles. That's why it's important to have conversations like this one.
Absolutely. And conversations where you just find out about those people, because the more you find out about them, you realise, wow, the journeys that they've come and how much that in Australia we take for granted, but when we have new people arrive, how different their story is and how much they have to offer the Australian community. Yeah. I'm in awe of some of these people that I deal with who have such resilience and have gone through so much and do not complain about it. They do not draw attention to themselves. They just realise what a beautiful country Australia is, and they appreciate it so much. So it is very eye-opening. If you do hear some of their personal stories, I don't necessarily ask them for them, but just to hear what they've been through, it makes you feel so humble.
One of the challenges that's worth recognising is the ones that come with starting your own business, especially for those facing financial hardships. Cherylin, what resources or support systems does HAFC offer to ensure sustainable success for these entrepreneurs?
It's a hard road even for people to establish a business. Perhaps the biggest challenges are around negotiating the requirements of the law, what certificates, licences are required, workers' compensation, insurance, entitlements, financial rules, etc. It just goes on and on. Starting a business, often in their homeland, has been quite simple and very straightforward, but not so in Australia. We provide a lot of mentoring along the way so their business is set up properly and their business can succeed. Some of our clients require less mentoring assistance but may need more financial assistance. One of our applicants lost his business during COVID, so we've been able to assess his needs and provide him with a small loan. He had work truck, he had tools, he had jobs all ready to go, but not the capacity. So we were able to loan him money. He was able to register his truck, pay his insurances, and get his business up and running again. And as a small charity, we can tailor the mentoring to that person and their needs and match them with the board member who has the best expertise that they can share with them.
And for that, of course, you need good partnerships, and appreciating the role of community partnerships is, I suppose, your mission. Could you elaborate on any collaborations that have significantly amplified your impact?
Since we started our charity, I think our biggest movement forward has been engaging with different agencies and communities. It definitely has an exponential effect. Our charity has been really well supported by the Ian and Shirley Norman Foundation, who gave us our initial funding and then helped us with courses that we've run by providing some free meeting rooms. And they have also paid for our social media person, and that's the only person that's actually paid in our charity. In addition, Newcastle Coal Infrastructure Group have funded us, has given us a grant as well, and they even sent some of their staff members along to help us in our workshop, which was great. Newcastle City Council, Lake Macquarie Council and Orica have all supported us with our social inclusion programs. The MEX Club supports us by allowing our meetings to be held there and also supports us financially. One of our programs that demonstrated to us the great power of the collective effort was a free room hire and use of computers at Wallsend Library that was given by Newcastle City Council, and at the same time Lake Macquarie Council then gave us a small grant to fund the trainer and the interpreter, so that helped her financially as well. So we provided volunteers, and it was just a huge success for the ladies. They had great attendance, they all requested more lessons. And not only did it improve their computer skills, but it also improved their English as well. So it was a cooperative effort.
Certainly for a small organisation, you really are punching above your weight.
Oh, thank you. It's been a long journey, and I think we'll continue to grow.
From strength to strength.
Absolutely.
Noting your focus on empowering individuals facing hardship and those going through challenges, what unique programs or support do you offer to address the specific needs of vulnerable groups?
We've had to make our programs quite specific, especially when we've applied for grants. It's really important that we target the people that are needy in our community. We were made aware of by some of the community leaders that the refugee women definitely wanted computer skills. So some of them had little English, some had more English, some had no computer skills because whatever they do is mainly on a mobile phone, which is quite restrictive for them. So we ran a computer class. We knew the ladies, although they lacked skills, they had bucket loads of enthusiasm for the program. So the program was run at Wallsend Library, a place that was well known to the ladies. It was easily accessible. They mainly come by bus. We had to consider the hours of school and also the days that they like to visit the mosque. So we really tailored it to their needs. We ran it on the day of the week that was most suitable because the ladies tend to go to English classes 3 days a week. So we had to be highly specific, the timing, the dates, so we got maximum attendance. The careful planning ensured that we met their needs and the program was very successful because I think we can set them up in the community, but if we set them up for failure, we need to have a strong support around them so they're not set up for failure. Even though they'll get to a certain point, we want them to continue to grow and to become active Australian citizens.
You're certainly providing the right guidance.
Yes, I think we can definitely, every client that comes to us has somewhat different needs, so we have to look carefully so it's not like one program fits all. So we're just never quite sure what people want, and so we will often have taken different directions to make sure that we give them the best possible outcome.
And that's brilliant because understanding people is really what your organisation is all about. And speaking of understanding, your organisation is certainly a volunteer-driven organisation. How do you engage and retain volunteers who are passionate about your mission?
As a small organisation, we've mainly attracted our volunteers by word of mouth. Our internet page, we certainly have a request for volunteers and we are still seeking more volunteers, but basically it's been friends and family that started off. And our chairperson always likes to acknowledge the efforts that our volunteers have made when they've come to special programs and someone given up their time freely. So much of the rewards for our volunteers come from the satisfaction of just sharing that pure joy of achievement as the ladies receive a certificate, because that seems to be something they value, probably more than a lot of Australian people value. They always want to know, can they get a certificate? So it's much valued, and whenever they receive the certificate, you have to be prepared for multiple photos because that is something they definitely do. And at the end of any programs we run, there always has to be some sort of party day, which involves food and a certificate. So it just seems to be so much part of their cultural tradition. It's such a big thing for them to get a certificate. Further, some of our volunteers have even delivered sewing machines. They've hooked up their trailers and delivered furniture for the refugees and people that we come across. The gratitude shown by them is enough reward in itself. And to visit a refugee at home, which I do a lot, it always involves food and tea. And you can never leave in a short time. You have to be there for a couple of hours to enjoy their hospitality. Recently, driving ladies home in my car, so it was easier to get them to the location, each one of them, as I'll drop them off at their home, invite me to come in and have afternoon tea with them. So it's always a rewarding experience.
It would be. Yeah, and I've always jokingly said that food is an international language of love, and I'm still yet to be proven wrong.
Absolutely. The ladies particularly love to bring their own food, and at the same time we provide Australian food. So it's interesting because they'll ask about our Australian food, or what is this? And we ask about theirs, and it's just, that sheer joy, because sometimes the only thing those ladies have at home is to be cooks or to be sewers, so they can show, this is how we make it, and it's a real tradition for them. It's definitely something that binds the community together, food and enjoying tea.
It's about recognising the importance of adaptability to the different food, the lifestyles, the different communities that you might encounter. How has the organisation evolved its programs to meet the changing needs of the community, especially in light of, say, the recent global events?
Yes, some of the settlement agencies that dealing the immigrants coming into Australia will often let us know that they are expecting a group for a certain country, and sometimes we will give those settlement agencies further assistance, often maybe in getting jobs. Again, it's the next thing after the settlement agencies. The settlement agencies do a wonderful job in getting them settled in, set all their things up for them, and sometimes we're meeting those people maybe 6 months further down the track or 12 months further down the track when they're ready to engage with more of the Australian community. Often, if we have applicants requesting employment and they may have come from a war-torn country, they will often have a variety of skills. They've had maybe a variety of jobs. Their qualifications aren't necessarily, not usually, recognised in Australia, and to have those validated is an expensive option which is not available to them. So we try to meet with them personally, give them some ideas of what employment they can obtain and maybe what training avenues they could go down, and again tailoring it to the person. So sometimes we can get them jobs. We do have contacts, and we find it's those contacts just at least trying to get them an interview rather than just have them on the open market, because by applying for a job they'll never get considered. It's just too many barriers. So we are able to cater for different groups that are coming into Australia. We definitely think we are fulfilling a need, albeit a small one, but as we've grown, we've been able to certainly expand our applicants and the number of people that are coming across wanting assistance. Sometimes we're able to give valuable, sometimes we're unable, but certainly giving them different options so they can become employed.
So considering your deep connection to the Hunter region, how do you incorporate local values, history and community traditions in the work that you do?
I think historically Newcastle and the Hunter Valley have been always welcome people from different cultures. It's a long history of that, dating a long way back. So some companies that we have contacts with are always willing to employ people with English as a second language. So we have contacts there which make it easier for those people to get employment. Now that employment may not be their highly sought after job, but it will be a starting place for them. So we value those connections that those people will be given a go, because we do know they have the skills, but the language is often a problem if their language is not good enough. So if it's not good enough to get employment, we then encourage them to keep doing their English education lessons and keeping them getting their conversational English up in the community, getting outside their home, getting outside their school environment so that they can communicate and their English can improve so they can become employable.
So look, if companies wanted to reach out to you and to see what they could do, what is the best way to contact you?
Our website is www.hunteradultsfc.org.au. and you can contact me as the Secretary on 0407 290 861 or drop me an email, no problem, love to hear from you. We are always open to people asking for help. It may be that we can provide some creative, something different. Sometimes we have employment providers or disabilities contact us asking for something that maybe they can't offer in their scope because we've got different avenues. One such example is we had a disability person contact us and they had a gentleman who was having some issues and we were able to mentor him, meet with him, and we allowed him to purchase some camera equipment which was helping with his online hobby. And further down the track, he got his motion, which helped his emotional well-being, and he was able to get back into full-time employment and is now mentoring some younger people through about his life experiences. So that was a really great example of us providing something other than just a straight job.
People empowering people, and that really is what community is all about.
Absolutely. People helping one another, providing solutions. That's definitely what our community needs, more people helping each other and being nice to each other.
And speaking of people being nice to each other and helping each other, I suppose if people wanted to, they're not a company, but they still wanted to volunteer and help, the best way is still get on the website?
Absolutely. On the website, we are always looking for volunteers, and sometimes it can be just something small. It could be a once-off. It doesn't have to be a commitment to weeks of anything else. We don't specifically have any training. Sometimes one of my friends arrived and I said, okay, we're typing up resumes today. This is what you need to do. Oh, okay. So they don't need to come with a huge amount of skills, just passion and knowing that they will fall in love with the people that they are working with because they are so open, friendly, and full of gratitude for anyone that wants to help them.
And this is why I love doing what I do, because I get to speak to remarkable people like yourself. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me and to connect with our audience. I'm sure they're going to love this podcast as much as I loved creating it with you.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely opportunity for me to reflect on our journey in our charity for the last 2.5 years, and has been very vital for our organisation to reflect on what we've done and how we are going to continue to move forward to make differences in people's lives.
And that brings us to the end of another powerful episode of Engaging Conversations. What an inspiring discussion with Cherylin Beever from HAFC this has been. If there's one key takeaway, it's this. Employment is about more than just a paycheck. It's about confidence, contribution, and breaking down the barriers that prevent people from standing on their own 2 feet. Whether it's a refugee navigating an unfamiliar system, a small business owner struggling to stay afloat, or someone rebuilding after a setback, the right support can make all the difference. And it's not just the individuals who benefit. When we empower people to succeed, businesses grow, communities thrive, and we all become part of something bigger. From Newcastle and Lake Macquarie City Councils to Orica to families and local businesses, HAFC is proof that when we work together, everyone wins. These are the stories that need to be told, stories that remind us of the power of opportunity, resilience, and human connection. If you want to learn more about HAFC or how you can be a part of the solution, check out the links in the show notes. Now, before we go, I want to give you a glimpse of next week's episode because it's one of those you truly don't want to miss. I'll be speaking with Theo Van Buseman from Morissette Op Shop, formerly known as ADRA, an individual who believes that everything and everyone deserves a second chance. Theo isn't just running an op shop, he's transforming lives, creating community, and proving that the small actions can lead to something extraordinary. It's an inspiring conversation about purpose, generosity, and the unexpected ways we can lift each other up. Thank you to our audience, our guests, our sponsor, and the entire team who make this program possible. I'm your host, Leon Goldsman, and until next time, stay safe, stay inspired, and let's keep making a difference together.